All right, so are you ready to step back in time and join us for a deep dive into Anne of Green Gables?
You bet. I'm excited to see what we find.
Well, we got a ton of summaries here,
Yeah.
thanks to, your suggestion for this episode, and I think it's going to be a fun one.
Sounds good.
So picture Avonlea, Prince Edward Island, right?
Yeah.
Late 1800s.
Okay.
We meet Anne Shirley, a bright and spirited orphan,
Yeah.
and then there's Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert, the siblings who end up taking her in.
I remember them. They decided they wanted to adopt a boy.
To help at the farm, right.
Exactly. Green Gables, but instead
They got Anne.
they got Anne.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah.
I bet that was quite a moment when...
Oh, absolutely. So just imagine Matthew, right? He's this shy, quiet guy. He goes to the train station expecting to pick up this strong young lad to help on the farm.
Right.
And instead, he finds Anne, this talkative, red-haired girl with a wild imagination.
Talk about a mix-up. What was Anne's reaction?
Well, she was crushed
Yeah.
because she, had all these hopes and dreams. And to find out they were wanting a boy, she was so disappointed.
Oh, I bet. Poor Anne. And poor Matthew. He seems like he'd be so overwhelmed. So what did he do? Just take her back?
Well, he was definitely taken aback. But there was just something about Anne, something about her spirit, It touched his heart, and he saw this spark in her.
I could see that.
Kind of reminded him of himself. So he takes her back to Green Gables for the night, at least.
Okay.
And leaves the final decision up to Marilla.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what does Marilla think of all this? Because she's all about order and practicality.
Oh, exactly. This was not at all what she had in mind.
I bet.
Talk about your plans getting thrown into disarray. This is a time and a place where appearances matter a lot.
Right.
And taking in an impulsive, talkative orphan, that was definitely not part of the plan.
Right.
So we really see her struggle, Her head's telling her, send Anne back. But her heart...
is being won over.
Yeah. Slowly but surely, by Anne's spirit.
It's like Anne is shaking things up at Green Gables just by being herself. So what are some of those early moments, where we see how different she is from everybody else?
Well, there's this one incident that comes to mind right away. Anne decides to wear a wreath of wildflowers to church.
Oh, my.
This beautiful gesture, meant to add some beauty to the world.
Yeah.
But it totally clashed with, everyone's strict sense of what's proper.
So what happened?
It just highlighted how innocent she was, her love for nature and her total disregard for social conventions.
It's those little quirks that make her so endearing, though, right?
Absolutely. She may not always get things right,
Yeah.
but her heart's always in the right place.
Exactly. Were there any other, mishaps like that?
Oh, yeah. Like the liniment cake incident. Anne was so eager to help Marilla with the baking, but she accidentally used liniment instead of vanilla.
Oh, no.
Let's just say it wasn't exactly a culinary masterpiece.
I bet.
Marilla was pretty upset.
Understandably.
But Anne, true to form, just found a way to laugh about it, even while she was trying to make things right.
I love that about her. Always finding the humor, even in the midst of mistakes.
Totally.
So while all this is going on, she's navigating this whole social scene of Avonlea, right? Is she making any friends? Finding those deep connections she's looking for.
Oh, absolutely. That's where her friendship with Diana Barry comes in.
Oh, tell me about Diana.
She's this sweet and gentle girl who lives nearby and becomes Anne's kindred spirit, her bosom friend.
I love it.
They share everything, secrets, dreams, adventures. Their bond is just this beautiful example of the power of friendship.
Yeah, that's so important, especially when you're trying to find your place in the world.
Exactly. But their friendship faces a pretty big test when Anne accidentally gets Diana drunk on currant wine, thinking it was raspberry cordial.
Oh, no, in Avonlea. That's got to be a scandal.
Oh, yeah. Diana's mother, very understandably, forbids Diana from seeing Anne.
Oh, wow.
And for Anne, who values that friendship more than anything, it's devastating.
Oh, man, I bet.
It shows, again, Anne's impulsiveness, but it also highlights the importance of, forgiveness and understanding in a relationship.
So true. So we've got Anne navigating friendships and social life. But what about school? How does she do in the classroom?
Anne thrives in school.
Yeah.
She's a natural learner, quick-witted, and just loves knowledge. And that imagination that sometimes gets her into trouble.
Yeah.
It becomes a real asset in school.
I bet.
And it helps her excel in her studies.
That's great to hear. But I have a feeling school also brings some challenges, right? Isn't that where she meets Gilbert Blythe?
Ah, Gilbert, you're right. And their first encounter is definitely memorable. Gilbert makes the mistake of teasing Anne about her red hair.
Oh, no.
And, well, Anne's got a temper.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So she smashes her slate over his head.
Wow. So much for a meet cute.
It sets the stage for a long-standing rivalry, fueled by their competitive spirits and their, shared intelligence.
So instead of instant friendship, we have enemies to lovers brewing.
Exactly. And it's a dynamic that really drives a lot of the story.
All right, I'm hooked. So how does this rivalry play out?
Their relationship is definitely complex, full of tension, unspoken feelings. They constantly push each other academically, always striving to be the best. And they both end up going to Queen's Academy, which only intensifies the competition.
Oh, wow. So their story's really just getting started.
Oh, yeah. But even with all the rivalry, there's a growing respect between them.
I can see that.
They recognize each other's talents and ambitions, and maybe, just maybe, there's a hint of something more beneath the surface.
Okay, so we've got friendship, we've got rivalry, we've got academic ambition. What happens next? What's life like at Queen's?
Well, Queen's brings both joy and heartbreak for Anne. She excels in her studies, even wins a scholarship, which makes Matthew and Marilla so proud.
Oh, that's awesome.
But then tragedy strikes. Matthew, who's always been such a rock for Anne, suffers a heart attack and dies.
Oh, no. That's awful. He was such a kind and gentle soul.
It's a huge turning point for Anne. She has to face the fragility of life head on, and it really changes her. But even in the face of grief, her resilience shines through.
That's Anne for you.
Yeah.
This is all so captivating. I'm so curious to hear what happens next. How does she deal with this loss? And what about Gilbert? What's going on with their relationship?
Well, there's definitely more to come. Lots more Anne moments waiting to be discovered. Matthew's death, it really is a turning point for Anne, not just emotionally, but for her future, too.
Right.
While she's dealing with all this grief, she finds out that Marilla's eyesight is failing.
Oh, no.
It's like a double blow, and it forces her to make a choice.
A tough one, I bet.
Yeah. Does she pursue her dream of going to college for 4 years?
Right.
Or does she stay at Green Gables and take care of Marilla?
What a difficult decision to have to make,
Yeah.
especially when she's so young.
It really is. And in a moment that just, speaks volumes about her character.
Yeah.
Anne chooses to stay at Green Gables. She puts her own ambitions aside to become Marilla's caregiver. It's a testament to her selflessness.
It's really inspiring to see that, even with all she's going through. She puts Marilla's needs first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about the sacrifices we all make for the people we care about.
Definitely. So we see Anne stepping up in this amazing way.
Yeah.
But she's not the only one, is she? What about Gilbert? Doesn't he do something pretty incredible, too?
He does. When Gilbert hears about Anne's situation and her decision to stay with Marilla, he makes a pretty selfless choice himself.
Okay, tell me.
He gives up his teaching position at the Avonlea school so Anne can take it.
Oh, wow. Talk about a true friend.
It allows her to earn a living and still be there for Marilla.
That's so thoughtful of him.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe all those years of rivalry were kind of like the foundation for something deeper.
I think so. It's definitely a turning point for the relationship. All that competition falls away and it's replaced with this genuine respect and understanding.
That's beautiful. So are they finally officially friends now?
It really seems like they start to see each other in a whole new light,
Yeah.
recognizing each other's strength and vulnerabilities.
Do they ever actually talk about their past rivalry? Or do they just move on?
There's this really touching scene where they do address it,
Okay.
They acknowledge the hurt they caused each other. And it's like this moment of honesty and forgiveness. It lets them move forward with a clean slate.
Wow. I bet that felt amazing for both of them.
Oh, I think so. So now the rivalry is fading. Their friendship is growing.
Yeah.
Could this be where the love story really starts?
Oh, I hope so. What happens next?
Well, as they spend more time together, their connection just keeps getting deeper.
Okay.
And they start to see each other differently, noticing qualities they may not have before. There are these shared glances, shy smiles.
Oh, I like.
And you can sense these unspoken feelings developing between them.
Oh, it sounds like things are definitely heating up. So is this it? Is this where they finally get together?
Well, you could say that their feelings become more and more obvious. There are these stolen moments, heartfelt conversations, a sense of intimacy that wasn't there before. But the book actually ends.
Oh, no.
Before their romance fully blossoms.
Come on. It's like they're leaving us hanging.
It is a bit of a cliffhanger, but that's part of what makes Anne of Green Gables so special. It keeps you thinking about the characters even after you finish the book.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way with Anne. From her first arrival at Green Gables to this potential romance with Gilbert.
Yeah, we have.
What do you think are the biggest lessons we can learn from her journey? What makes this story so timeless?
Anne's story, it reminds us about the power of imagination, the importance of resilience, and just the beauty of finding your place in the world. you know?
It's like she's showing us how to embrace our individuality
Exactly, and to cherish our
and to
friendships.
never lose that sense of wonder and possibility.
Right. It's a story that really speaks to everyone, no matter your age or background.
Absolutely.
Right.
There's a reason Anne of Green Gables continues to connect with readers generation after generation. I think it's the way she just embraces life,
Yeah.
with all its ups and downs.
Exactly. Anne's journey, it's like a reflection of our own journeys. We all want to be loved and accepted. We all struggle to fit in. We all experience triumphs and setbacks.
So true. It's those shared human experiences that make her story so relatable.
And it reminds us we're not alone.
Exactly. But it's not just about relating to her struggles. It's also about her strength,
Right.
Like even when things are tough, she always finds a way to keep going.
She really does. It's a story about kindness and forgiveness and that enduring strength of the human spirit. She goes through so much, losing Matthew, being orphaned, and yet she never loses her optimism or her capacity for love.
It's amazing. And it makes you think about how we choose to respond to the challenges in our own lives.
Totally. And, she also teaches us that even in the midst of hardship, there's always beauty to be found.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she sees it everywhere. If we just open our hearts and minds to it right.
Right.
Whether it's the simple joy of a wildflower meadow
Yeah.
or the deep connection of a true friendship,
Right.
Anne reminds us to appreciate those small wonders that make life worth living.
It's so true.
Right.
And it all comes back to perspective, right? And chooses to see the world through this lens of optimism and possibility.
Exactly. And that's something we can all learn from.
Definitely.
Okay.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today,
Yeah.
it feels like Anne's story is just beginning.
Mhm.
There are so many more chapters to be written, both in her life.
And in ours.
Exactly. And for our listener out there,
Yeah.
I encourage you to keep exploring Anne's world.
Pick up the next book in the series or revisit this one with fresh eyes. Let Anne's spirit inspire you. Let her adventures ignite your imagination. And let her story remind you of the magic that exists in everyday life.
That's a perfect note to end on. What a journey it's been. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Anne of Green Gables.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you leave feeling inspired by Anne's resilience, charmed by her spirit, and ready to embrace the beauty of your own story. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.